But the questions nagging at the back of her mind wouldn't leave her alone. They taunted her with unveiled malice, dragging her back toward the precipice. Where was this place? How had she gotten here? Was the memory of her village and her family true, or were the gods playing cruel tricks on her psyche? She pressed her palms against her eyes, trying to squeeze the horrific images from her head. After several long moments, she wiped the wetness from the corners of her eyes and forced her attention back to her present situation. Flora focused on the turning water wheel. Its steady, rhythmic chant helped buoy her spirits ever so slightly. Inside, the millstone turned just as steadily to grind kernels of grain into the fine powder she had so often used to make oatcakes or bread or chowder broth. There was certainty in the connection between the turning wheel and the stone and the grain that nourished. They were real, tangible things that linked together in a real, tangible world. She clung to that surety, like a drowning man clings to a piece of debris from a wrecked boat. She gazed at the water wheel. Swoosh, swoosh, lap, lap. Steady, certain, real. Then a subtle uneasiness crept up Flora's spine. She felt the sense of peace begin to sink away into a pit of growing blackness. Something was wrong. Something wasn't right with what? With the sky? With the sunshine? With the breeze? With the ripples on the pond? No. The water wheel lapped steadily onward. The water wheel. The water. The churn. The splash. There was no splash. The water made no splash when it dropped from the wheel into the pond. There was no splash. There was no wake. There were no waves to disturb the ripples in the pond or to distort the reflected image of the sky. Panic and dread engulfed her in a torrent of fear, and her certainty was dashed upon the rocks, like waves crashing against the Yesnaby cliffs. It was too perfect. It was not perfect enough. It wasn't real after all. She felt their presence closing in on her. The others. What were they doing to her? Why was this happening? She buried her face in her hands and began to weep. Amid the tears of desperation, a voice rang out in her head. It was a strong, powerful voice, one unlike the gentle breeze, a voice filled with the authority to command. "Run!" The voice broke through her sobs. It broke through her hysteria. It compelled her to action. She leapt to her feet, turned her back to the pond and ran. She didn't know where she would go. She just ran.